define your own fit, healthy and happy. What does it mean to you as a person? What does it mean to you to be fit, healthy and happy? That's what we've got to define for ourselves. You can't go by anyone else's description because we're all different. We all have lots of things going on, and you really have to define what your fit, healthy and happy is, and you do that by doing two things. One, stopping and really reviewing, taking a long hard look at yourself, look at your life and score, assess, review. Where is your health and fitness and happiness right now? If you were to say score it out of 10, where would you score it out of 10? 10 being exactly how you want it to be. So say it's fit, healthy and happy, and you score 5, 6 and 7 in terms of your level of fitness, your level of health, and your level of happiness. Okay, so then you take the score that you've scored lowest on, so say your fitness, and then after you've assessed where it is, where you feel it is, what you can do about it. Work out what would help you to move the needle so that you could score yourself 1 point higher for your fitness, health and happiness. What actual physical steps could you take to score yourself higher? So with fitness, would it make you feel fitter if you moved a little bit more? If you did a little bit more exercise? Would you feel fitter if you could run around the supermarket without being out of breath every week? What is your definition of fitness, of being fitter? Work through all of those three categories, your fitness, your health and your happiness, and really assess what actual steps you could take to move the needle on those, in those three categories for yourself, because your score is going to be totally different to someone else's score. So moving 1 point for you may be the difference between 0 and 1 for one person, or a 9 and a 10 between someone else or with someone else. So really, 1, assess, 2, review and plan, and then it comes back to, okay, so now you know where you are and you know how you want to feel. Now what are the steps? What are the actual things that you can do to make that happen? And then if you schedule that in, if you work out when are you going to do these things, then you have a plan. And then the difference between you doing it or not is getting some kind of accountability, right? So you've defined your own goals for your fitness, health and happiness. You want to move the needle. You've worked out what it will take for you to feel better in those three categories, and then you need to get accountable so that it gets done, because it's all well and good having a plan there, but unless you feel like you've got, a rocket up your bum, it's not going to happen, right? And the technique I'm using right now to help me to move the needle on my health, fitness and happiness is using a technique that I saw Tim Ferriss use. All right, Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4-Hour Week. And he does what's called fear setting. Okay, this exercise called fear setting, and basically you take a decision that you're procrastinating over, and you set the fears, you write them down. So what I mean by that is for the time period 6, 12, 18, 36 months from now, you set one list, or you write one list of things that, like the worst case scenario, basically, of what could happen if you do these things. What's the worst case scenario? Like, what's the worst outcome that could happen if you do these things that you're potentially fearful of setting in motion, of doing, because I know maybe you're worried about what other people think and stuff, okay? So that's the worst case scenario projection, in terms of you writing down, okay, in 6 months, what could be the worst thing that's going to happen if I don't do these things, or if I do these things rather, okay? And then for 12 months, and then for 18 months, and then for 3 years, 36 months. And then you do the same for what would be the worst case scenario, or what would be the cost of if you did nothing, if you didn't do anything, in terms of, again, the 6, 12, 18 and 36 months. But you also want to think about, one, who would suffer other than just yourself, because we're wired to want to help other people, right? So if you write it down in black and white that X, Y and Z people in your life are going to suffer as well, then that's going to give you that fire up the bum, and you're going to end up with 2 lists, and they're going to be lists that you're going to refer to often, and that are going to light up a rocket up your bum. So in summary, define your fitness levels in terms of where you are fitness, health and happiness wise. Work out what it would take to have actually moved the needle. Set the fears in terms of what is the cost of you doing it, and what is the worst case scenario, or what is the cost of you not doing it, and what is the worst that could happen, and who are going to suffer. And then get accountable, so that you 100x the probability of you actually doing those things. Okay, so what is your definition of fitness, health and happiness?